Welcome to the Obvious Podcast. This is episode number 80. My name is Sonny Macon. I'm the COO at ABC Florida East Coast.
And I'm Peter Dyga, President and CEO at ABC Florida East Coast.
You are listening to the Obvious Podcast or watching, where all opinions expressed are our own unless we say otherwise.
Love the show? We ask you to subscribe on any major podcast platform or watch us in action on YouTube. Follow the Obvious Podcast on TikTok, Instagram, X, and Truth Social. All the links you need are in the show notes. And you can reach out to us anytime at theobvious@abceastflorida.com. And if you're enjoying the ride, help others find us by leaving a review wherever you listen.
So before we get into it, if you are tuning in right now expecting part 2 from last week's episode, you're going to have to wait another week. Obviously, the whole Iran thing has happened, so we wanted to kind of talk about that, share our opinions. And next Friday, you will hear part 2 of the episode from last week.
All right, so we're going to talk about the Middle East conflict.
The Middle East conflict.
It's not really even just an Iranian conflict at this point, since they've lobbed missiles at...
But it does feel like the 90s again, right? We were talking about the Middle East conflict. Bill Clinton's in the news, smiling at the at the women report. Right, from Epstein.
Well, if you're old enough, you can remember Carter and talking about Middle East news and hostages and every president ever sent.
That's before my time, Peter. I don't know what you're talking about.
So, I can tell you, for those of us who have been here on the earth 47 years or longer, this one regime, much less the whole Middle East, has certainly been a thorn in the world's side.
Yep.
I think for almost half a century.
That was 1979, right, when they took over the embassy? Mm-hmm. Right. So, by the way, great movie about that whole issue called Argo, ARGO, with Ben Affleck. If you haven't seen it, check it out. My favorite line from that movie is their whole concept is to get some of these Americans out of the embassy. And so he poses as a Hollywood producer to go to Iran and get them out. And he suggests this idea to his boss at the CIA, and the boss goes, "Well, this is a terrible idea." And he goes, "Well, this is the best bad idea we have."
It was a true story, right?
It's a true story.
Yeah, which, by the way, so let me do this. Right?
What's that bell for?
I don't know, but people who know.
People who know.
So,
by the way, we
some people might be questioning, really, the bell on this subject?
Yeah.
Really? I don't think there's an aspect of our life that isn't impacted by
that's 100%. We should point out that from the first time we did the bell, we did have a winner who answered correctly.
He was a member of our ABC
student chapter. Yep.
And he was so concise in exactly what this bell meant. It was unbelievable. So
we obviously won't tell you the answer because we're still playing the game. So, but he is going to get his the obvious tumbler. You got it already? Oh, Mr. Producer told me he got it already.
I mean, it's kind of ongoing, right? I mean, whoever the first email is of each podcast, which if we get one for that particular podcast, we'll send you a gift too.
Absolutely.
So, keep guessing. So except for if you've won once already, you can't keep guessing. So sorry. What was I say kids, not in any pejorative term.
Yeah.
Everybody's a kid to me.
Yeah. Well,
practically.
So,
anyway.
All right. So let's talk about Iran.
Sure.
Well, where do you stand on that issue?
Where do I stand?
Yeah, where do you stand? And, you've been watching this whole Ayatollah Khomeini nonsense since the 70s.
Sure. Well, where to start? So, I pray for the swift and complete success of our military forces.
Amen.
And for the long-term peace that I hope and pray will come out of this. When you remove a regime that, again, for 47, 49, however many years it is, has kind of been terrorizing the world and funding terrorism around the world and holding the world hostage to, maritime anyway, it could go on and on and on. So that's kind of where I fall.
Right.
And unfortunately, I wish it's where we all fell, and it used to be that way. I remember in America where, I think we all, at least initially, would be praying for and hoping for a swift and successful, effort and campaign. And, we can debate later, the results and how to build, coming out of it or whatnot. But unfortunately, that's not where we're at today. So, and that's unfortunate. So, I'm sure we'll get into more details.
Yeah. So
There's a lot of picking around the edges about, what's the mission? Well, the mission's pretty damn clear to me. I don't understand people who don't seem to, or at least are pretending that they don't understand the mission. I think the administration has been very clear, which is to totally annihilate the ability for this regime to wage proxy or direct wars, either nuclear or conventional missiles, or through their proxies in the Middle East, Islamic, proxy guerrilla warfares, and their ability to produce that machine and build that machine. I mean, that's it. It's plain and simple. And if that gets done, okay, I think we're out of there.
Yeah.
It will be a plus if there is some kind of a change in the Iranian people actually, can take advantage of the situation, but we'll see.
So the goal is not regime change per se. Now, if it happens as a result of the bombings, it does. But the goal is really to destroy their capacity to launch missiles at American bases and American allies in the Middle East.
Plain and simple, or to threaten, or to blackmail. Through violence, and there are proxies as well over the years, right? The guerrillas.
I mean, they've taken out assassination attempts on American officials. They try to assassinate the Saudi ambassador in Georgetown.
Yeah. And let's face it, right now they're lobbying to the best they can some of their conventional armament, on neighbors in the Middle
Gulf
East.
States,
Gulf states that had nothing to do with this. On top of that, they're using warfare like cluster bombs and things like that strike indiscriminately. So if you needed any proof, and I don't think you really did, if you looked hard enough, there's been 47 years of proof. But if you needed any proof today, well, there you have it.
Yeah.
So
what do you say to that whole argument about, a lot of people are burnt out from Iraq and Afghanistan, and how, nation building has failed spectacularly.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Right.
Kind of find myself amongst that kind of wing, if you will, in the Republican Party or right of center.
Right.
I think if we were to get to that point where all of a sudden the mission were to be, well, we're going to start rebuilding, schools and, and trying to do, no, that's not what we're there for.
Right.
If we can successfully destroy today, and that's another part of this conversation, is just because you've done it today, if there is no regime change, doesn't mean you're not going to have to do it again a year or 2 years from now if they start rebuilding the same program.
Yep.
And unfortunately, if this country elects someone else, we probably won't have that consistency, which is again what's been the problem. We've had tremendous consistency for the past 47 years, Democrat and Republican, to talk about it, but to do nothing about it.
Well, I mean, you could argue the fact that consistency really was decimated by Obama when he sent all that cash, right?
Yeah.
Pellets of cash, and that alleged nuclear deal that was negotiated. And,
Which was, as this president is characterized, one of the worst friggin' deals ever negotiated ever. So, which he got us out of, thank God. But yeah, the pallet, who can forget the pallets of cash?
Yeah.
Pallets. I mean, it's, by the way, nobody sued back then to say that did the president really have the authority to do that?
Yeah.
To take millions of dollars out of, I think, every central bank in like 100-mile or a 200-mile radius of Washington, D.C., and actually put the cash on pallets on C-130 cargo planes
and sent it
to Iran. I mean, but it's funny, isn't it, how nobody sued the president back then? Because we don't play the same way, unfortunately. We better learn, though, right of center. We better learn, because, we've seen nothing but in this past year a lawfare, if you will, against suing this president. And unfortunately, the system, well, I think in most cases we can have good confidence that in the end, I think probably rationality will prevail and the rule of law will prevail. Right. But getting there, you will find somebody to rule insanely, some judge to rule insanely. We have judges, many, many thousands of judges. You're going to find some that are motivated by politics.
Well, a lot are.
And that's a lot. And that's this game that's being played, is let's just sue. And eventually, it's like rolling the dice. Eventually, you're going to roll the right number, and you're going to find that judge that's going to just rule politically. Now, fortunately, our system is such that you can now appeal that, and you can keep appealing it to a higher level until you get to the ultimate court, which is pretty consistent, right? It doesn't change. You've got the same 9, judges there, and which
appointed for life.
Yeah, appointed for life. You kind of know where they're at. By the way, we had 3 of them rule in a very important case recently that the government basically was the ultimate authority in raising your children. 3 justices on the Supreme Court ruled that.
I know.
Not you, as a parent,
but the
government is the ultimate authority in raising your children.
It's unbelievable.
3 of them believe that. So,
yeah, that's another episode. We'll have to come back to that.
Yeah, maybe raising your kids is not a bellworthy event, but I think the war certainly in the Middle East right now is. So,
yeah.
Because I believe and I pray and I hope that a lasting peace can come out of this. Because when you remove one of the world's most prominent purveyor, if you will, of terrorism and whatnot, it's going to result in some of the most substantive and lasting peace I think we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And will that be good for business?
Absolutely.
You're damn right.
Absolutely.
I mean, and unfortunately, I think one of the things, amongst many, maybe we could, spend a little time talking about that, but the things that make decisions like this and leadership like this difficult is because we are a society that finds making sacrifice very difficult, even if it's a short-term sacrifice.
Yeah.
We are a society that just finds that difficult.
When you have instant gratification, that's part of your culture.
That's right. It's built into social media. It's built into pretty much everything in our society right now. So we've become a society that just cannot see the value in even a short-term sacrifice for long-term, success or peace or prosperity. And that makes these challenges difficult.
Yep.
And why you can say every president for 50 years, both Republican and Democrat, have refused to actually do something about this problem.
Yeah. I think what's interesting about this time around is the media narrative just never changes, right? It's
never. Can't hate them enough. Sonny.
Always can't hate them enough. It's always one version under one type of administration, and it's a different version under a different type of administration. And the sense of sort of moral superiority that they have on this issue, it's mind-boggling to me. And look, if you want to be sort of the ever-present skeptic with every administration, fine. Which really I would appreciate that as a role of the media, but they
absolutely
they turn on blinders for one side, and then they somehow become this. Oh, we're journalists. This is our calling. Like, come on, nobody takes you seriously because you've destroyed your credibility. But what I find, I guess, I don't know if troubling is the word, but for me personally on this Iran issue, I can see both sides. I had friends who served in Iraq. I had friends who served in Afghanistan whose lives were changed by what we did there, the horrible decision-making of the American government, the horrible decision-making of, when they fired. I've done a lot of sort of deep dive into Iraq and how that sort of deteriorated. Paul Bremer was the guy's name, and he was sort of the administrator for the country. And he was told by some people, like, do not fire the Iraqi army. Do not fire and he did. Mm-hmm. And I think within 3 days of that, the first roadside bomb went off. Yeah. Right. And and of course, Trump's taking a lot of heat for leaving that lady behind in Venezuela. Venezuela is off the news. Like, you don't hear anything happening in Venezuela that would be sort of negative, right?
Not negative. Yeah,
like in a
positive stuff
in
happening.
A war sense, like you don't hear anything negative happening because
I read an article, and this is a little off subject, but since you brought it up, recently, I think this administration for the first time, not this administration, but the United States under this administration for the first time held a conference of the Americas.
In Doral.
For countries in Doral, for countries that are aligned in terms of security and freedom against the terrorists in this hemisphere, which are the cartels. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it was a great meeting, and to see the American government leading in that regard was just so. I mean, I'm so proud, that for once, we're not just so. And isn't it funny that for a lot of people?
But before you move on, I do want to say that our assistant government affairs director was at that conference.
He was.
Yep.
All right. I didn't know that. So that's pretty cool. So, one of the things that, came out of that was I had talked in previous podcasts about the election that I was, I think, down in Costa Rica when when both the president-elect and the current president were at that conference. So, but I saw an article about Cuba in their American language newspapers in Costa Rica that, again, I see sometimes stories there that I don't see in the U.S.
in the U.S.
papers. But the article was about how close apparently the United States is to a economic deal with Cuba.
I just heard that today for the first time. I had no idea.
So, I mean, I'm sure we're not going to just agree to an economic deal. Part of the deal is going to be reform in the government. And I mean, can you imagine a silent victory? Wouldn't even take
without any,
arresting somebody or, which would be just spectacular. Anyway, how many times have I said leadership matters? Right?
Yeah.
Having a leadership just in this particular case has changed the outlook on this whole hemisphere. We've, in a matter of a year, and again, it's not getting much press. And part of the reason is because this administration moves so fast, the media is incapable of actually keeping up or providing,
even understanding the long-term implications.
Right. And they don't really get into detail in anything. It's always a matter of what can we exploit, for the explosive headline, at the moment. So then, and once that's gone, they have to move on. So it's not in their nature to actually cover the detail, once that headline's gone. And for example, the gold deal that came out of Venezuela and the gold that we're buying from Venezuela and the economic benefit of in the mining industry and the oil industry there and how the people are going to benefit. Cuba, and the deal that we're potentially negotiating. So in any event, it's exciting stuff. So leadership matters.
Do you think?
So back to
well, let's talk about Iran. Do you think we're going to have an issue with our missiles? Running out of missiles and all that armament stuff that we keep hearing about, or is it just another red herring?
Yeah, I think it's just another red
herring. Yeah.
So, especially now that we're, able to use more conventional gravity bombs as opposed to the more expensive.
Yeah. By the way, I do want to make this point about Iran, right? So you and I have talked about lower gas prices for like a year. Mm-hmm. Not a single. And you and I,
or recognition. Anyway.
You and I consume a lot of media. I haven't seen a single story on gas prices going down. In a year. And as soon as gas prices go up because of this, everywhere. Everywhere I see gas price stories. Right? Oh no, look what the.
But by the way, from what I understand, it's this is all reactionary even at this moment. Now, it could be more substantive to where the point where the actual supply is affected, but this really has nothing to do with the supply, at least from what the experts are saying.
Short term, but long term, I think
mostly a reaction. So
mostly, and it's just, I mean, look,
because production has been kicked up, and there's nobody's short, of
the distributors. These are 2 week contracts. Right. So the price you pay at the pump was determined 2 weeks ago. And it's determined for the next 2 weeks.
And I looked it up, by the way. So at the height of the Biden administration, gas was at $5.94. I'm sorry, $4.94. So almost $5 a gallon on average. That was the average price per gallon.
Imagine what it was in California.
Nationwide. Right. In California, was I think that's when you were seeing
$7 or
$8 a gallon. So, the price with a war in the Middle East and the Strait of Hormuz being temporarily shut down is actually lower than it was at the height of the Biden administration. But to your point, we never, of course, heard of it.
I didn't see a single story on how energy prices are dropping and all of a sudden everybody loses their mind.
By the way, did you know there also was a vote in the Congress very recently about declaring Iran, I don't know the exact language, but, the lead or the top terrorist state, in the world.
I didn't know that.
It did. And 53 Democrats voted against it.
Oh, wow. I believe that.
And it came out that the State Department in the United States, every year since 1984, what's that, 42 years? Has declared Iran the largest sponsor of terrorism in the world. So for many, many years, it was no problem under a Democrat administration and Secretary of State.
But now it's controversial.
But now it's controversial. And 53 Democrats, all of which should be thrown out by their party.
They should.
I mean, they can't just because
it's this president.
And it's especially problematic because we are at war. And you can't agree to what something the State Department has said for 42 years.
Well, I mean, and
that the world knows and recognizes.
They're support of the Houthis. They're support of Hezbollah. They're a support of literally assassination. They had things out for the guy with the mustache who hates Trump now. He was Bolton.
Yeah,
right.
That's it. Yeah, Bolton.
They had an assassination attempt on him. Every time I'm in Georgetown, I go to Cafe Milano, and they were trying to take out the ambassador of Saudi Arabia at Cafe Milano. Like, it's insane.
It's insane.
How awful this regime has been.
Anyway, I think we all should be praying, and I call on every American to pray and wish. If you're not the praying type, do your yoga chant or whatever you got to do to wish for success in this campaign. Swift success and long-term peace.
And I hope, Iran has a very young population that's very tech savvy. I hope that they're able to kind of step up and fill this leadership vacuum and really take it into a different direction, because it's a beautiful country. It's a beautiful people, right? Yeah. They have a great
video this morning of when what do they? I love it. It's what I love about it. It's so aligned with the left in this country and the world. What does this Iranians call the panel of experts, or the council that it's like the council of experts, right? Am I getting that name right?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the experts.
So they announced the new supreme leader.
The son of the guy who.
I saw videos of somebody who just took a video outside their window in Tehran, and you could hear people shouting death to that person, the new supreme leader.
Wow!
So there is pro-democracy. Movement.
So there was a huge story, and this barely made it on American media, of Iranian women revolting a few months ago. And there's this incredible picture of this Iranian woman who has taken her hijab off. She's smoking a cigarette, and she's lighting it, her cigarette with the flyer, with the picture of the.
I missed that. Wow.
So I'm gonna make sure Mr. Producer puts it up on this episode.
50 years ago, that would have won Time
Picture of the Year, right?
Award or something.
Absolutely.
Like that. So,
All right, so we are out of time, and
anyway, in case you were wondering, there you have it.
There you have it.
So.
Shoot us an email if you have any questions.
Cross your fingers.
Whatever yoga chants you're doing.
Do whatever it is. Let's pray for swift, complete victory and lasting peace.
Lasting peace. So, all right. We pray for the Iranian people as well.
All right. Thanks for listening and honoring us with your time. We're going to switch roles.
Yeah. That's
all right. I look forward to sharing another episode with you next Friday.
For comments, send us an email, or if you want to participate in the Bell contest, send us an email at theobvious@abceastflorida.com.
Till next Friday. Ciao.
Take care.